Okay, good afternoon. Welcome back to our Wednesdays at 1 p.m. live here with Alignment Rockford. Again, I am Jessica Hayes. I am the Work-Based Learning Coordinator with Alignment Rockford. With me today, I have Alyssa Zarbach. Alyssa Zarbach is the Operations Engineer at Woodward. I also have Cassie Gray. Cassie Gray is also an Operations Engineer with us at Woodward. And then I have my friend Charles Kluzak, who is the Academy Coach at Jefferson High School, helping us co-moderate today. So thank you all for being here today. We greatly appreciate it. And we'll get started by you guys just kind of telling us a little bit about yourself and what you do every day in your current careers. So Alyssa, if you want to go ahead and get started, that would be great.
Sure. So like was mentioned, I'm an operations engineer. I work for advanced manufacturing in our aerospace business sector. Summary of my day is come in 7 a.m., check my emails, and then if there's nothing there, run out to the floor and continue working on the projects I have going on. I tend to balance about 3 to 5 major projects at a time, bouncing around the different product lines in our facility.
Like
was already mentioned, I'm Cassie Gray. I'm also an operations engineer at Woodward. Liz and I are both out of the Rock Cut campus, which is the newer building over by Rock Cut State Park. I'm also in advanced manufacturing engineering. However, I am specialized in special process. So with that, it's an aerospace term for special processes. And what that is it's a process done to a part, usually in a coating, could be like a heat treat or something like that, but you can't measure what you perform on that part. So you have to take a destructive test piece and destroy a part to be able to do that measuring for it. So that's a little bit about me.
That's great. Thank you both so much. And thank you for being here, and how exciting for you both to be in engineering, and how exciting it is for you to talk to our students today. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got here, how you started in this career? Was this something you always thought you wanted to do? Cassie, let's go ahead and start with you this time.
So what got me started in this career? I was a member of a robotics team. I'm originally from Winnebago. So through high school, I was like, let's go ahead and get started and try it out. So I joined the robotics team and I absolutely loved it. So from there, I took more engineering and manufacturing classes, got to work in some different technical roles in high school, nothing too in depth with engineering, but definitely good experiences. And then I went to Iowa State University, started with getting my degree in electrical engineering, found out it was not what I thought I wanted to do. So I changed my major to industrial and manufacturing systems engineering. Absolutely loved it. I worked in a couple different pharmaceutical packaging internships through college. And then I did do some manufacturing internships here at Woodward through my college career. And then that kind of just opened the door for me to work here. And that's where I ended.
That's where you ended. And now you're here, still in Rockford, Woodward Governor.
Yes.
That's awesome. Thank you for telling us that story. It's really great to hear how you get started, and how you learned at a young age in robotics, that's something that interested you. And it's really great for students to hear how they can get engaged in robotics teams as well. Alyssa, do you want to give us a little bit about how you got here today?
Sure. I did not originally think I was going to be an engineer. I had dreams of being a teacher, and I couldn't really pick which kind of teaching I wanted to do, what subject, what grade, all that kind of stuff. So one of my teachers in high school, I went to high school in Elgin, Illinois, so not too terribly far away. One of my teachers was like, you like the math and science of this aspect. Like, why don't you focus on that and use that, go into industry, find a career based in that. And then if you don't like being in corporate and or the industry, you can go back for teaching, and then you'll have that experience as well. So I ended up doing that. So I didn't have any sort of engineering background when I went into college and picked my major. I also originally went in for electrical engineering, didn't find that suited me properly. So I switched into industrial technology management, and I got my 4-year degree in that from University of Wisconsin-Platteville. I also participated in an internship with Woodward, based out of our career fair and academic center. And they ended up liking me, so I ended up staying.
So here you are. Next question around the table is going to be, what excites you about your job every day? What excites you about going into work every day and, continues to get you up every morning to go to work?
Sure. I had a dream of going into aerospace. So this fit right into that. And it's kept me interested because my days aren't always the same. It's a lot of a mix, a lot of variety, working with different people and different processes. And it keeps you interested and engaged because you're always learning something new.
That's awesome. Cassie, you want to tell us a little bit about what excites you every day?
Sure. So the biggest thing that really excites me is knowing that what I do, although it may not seem like it on a daily basis, but at the end of the day, everything we do, any process improvements or projects, they all contribute to flight safety. So our components do go into aircrafts, and if you have one day and you just don't, it's just kind of, it's the same thing over and over. That's really not the case for us. It's always something new. There's always new challenges. If you start to get bored, find something else. There's always projects to work on. And at the end of the day, we do get that satisfaction of knowing that what we do on a daily basis does contribute to everyone's flight safety, because everyone likes to go on vacations and travel. Although not everybody flies, a good majority of people do.
That's awesome. Thank you guys for sharing those stories with us and what excites you about your career and getting there every day. Can you tell us maybe a current project or maybe a past project that you worked on that was really fun that you would like to share that kind of made you even more excited about your career?
Sure.
Go ahead, Cassie.
I'll go ahead and start.
Go ahead.
It wasn't fun at the time because it was definitely a head scratcher project. With one of our coding applications, it's called DLC coding, which stands for diamond-like carbon coating. And it's a very strong wear-resistant coating that you need an extremely clean environment to perform this. And sometimes you'll have factors that change that you have no idea what they are, which makes it quite the mystery. But we had a situation where we had continuous delamination. So none of the coatings were sticking, and it's pretty clear that they won't stick. So it changes the color of the part. And it took us about a month and a half to fully figure out what it was. And we don't know exactly what one contributing factor was. However, we were able to identify some of the contributing factors, not necessarily able to say this was our culprit. But what it ended up turning out to be was silicone was a part of the contamination. And we could trace that back to there is silicone present in some different hand lotions. So it's crazy that what we do at home, our body washes or our scented hand lotions could make an impact like that. So it was very stressful as I was trying to participate in the team to determine what that was. But now after the fact, it's pretty crazy that hand lotions could impact that.
I guess as a person in my seat, I would never have even thought of that either. That kit wouldn't have even have been a thought in your mind, as that being something that would make a difference.
Exactly.
That had to have been pretty interesting to find that out.
Yeah, it was cool.
Alyssa, do you want to share either a current project or a past project that you worked on that would be fun to share?
Sure. We had an experimental collaborative robot come in, and I'm a part of our automation team. There's about 5 of us, and that's just one of the facets of my job. But we had a a brand new kind of robot come in where it's called collaborative, because if an operator was to be in the way or around this robot and the robot was to hit that person, the robot would stop. There's force sensing inside of there to make it extra safe to be around, so it doesn't need a cage. But we had a goal set to open a can of soda as a demo project for everybody on the manufacturing floor. And the team had set out to create this program in a number of different stages to open this can of soda, because to open a can of soda, you have to have force requirements there. And the robot itself is not supposed to use, like, these external forces would make it trip the safety switch. So it was a fun, challenging project to put together so that we could demonstrate the capabilities of this robot to everybody on the manufacturing floor. And they were also able to get a free soda. So it was a fun little, project there.
Those are so fun. That sounds like such exciting work. And I sit here in front of my Zoom. That's so exciting, you guys. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those with us. We really appreciate that. I guess the next question leads us to you talked about a day with you, how it works, like what your day is like. Do you guys work together in teams a lot, or is a lot of your work individually on your own at your desk? Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we do a lot of team-based work. Most of the stuff you're assigned to is project team-based. However, from those projects, you do receive work to do on your own, but it's always coming back to that project team or being introduced to other people. It's very often that work you're doing is just for yourself and just by yourself kind of stuff. Most of the time you are working with a team.
Cassie, same for you?
Yeah, same thing for me. I know we alluded to it a little bit, but we have a lot going on. So we're involved with many projects at once. So, I mean, similar to, growing up, grade school, you had all your different subjects, which continued on through middle school and high school, and you had to keep everything separated. Based by subject was usually how you organized and kept track of all of your stuff. Same thing with us. We have tons of projects. Some of them are larger projects, some of them are smaller projects, but we do have tons of them. So a lot of mine are going to be a little bit more hands-on with the manufacturing floor. So working on reducing costs, reducing times to complete a process, different quality improvements. So if we're producing something and it's not quite to what we want it to be, we'll pull a team together and create a project to figure out what's going on and how we can improve that so we have better quality for that. We'll also get pulled in to the engineering. We call it the engineering side of things, but we're at the end of the day, most of us are engineers. But we'll get pulled into more of the design engineer type stuff to get consulted on, hey, here's this new project we have. These are the parts we're going to have with it. What challenges do we foresee in various manufacturing processes? Things like that. And then at the end of the day, most of our projects are evolving around problem solving. At the gist of it, it's always a foundation of most of our projects.
So a lot of team collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving, really coming together and finding the best solution for the project that you're working on, and all 10 or 15 different projects that you're working on at the same time, right?
For sure, yes.
So good time management skills, good organizational skills, those seem to be a lot of things that are coming out that are very important within your career.
Exactly.
Awesome. What is growth like for you in this career? What opportunities are there for you or for students that choose to go this degree or down this pathway? What are the opportunities for growth for this type of career? Cassie, go ahead.
Okay, so from where Alyssa and I currently are, so we are under the operations engineer job title. We have room to advance through that. There are multiple levels. So with that, we have what are called job codes that provide us with steps of, okay, at a level 3, these are the types of tasks that you can do. And usually as you progress up through those, it more or less focuses on more of the difficult problems, and then as well as developing the I don't want to say younger, because that's not necessarily the case, but developing the more early entry level in your job codes, as well as helping with other job codes. So I'm currently a level 1 engineer in my position. So I work a lot with staff engineer within my job code, or a level 3 engineer within my job code. They help to develop the skills that we use within our job. And
so
then
you could, sorry, go ahead. Sorry
oh,
about
no,
that.
you're fine. So within that, that's how you can progress with what we currently do. There's also opportunities to take on other types of management positions. Once you have a job code, you're not set in it forever. It's just provides you with a map to advance and develop yourself. But from there, you can always jump around. If you want to get into, say, the business side of things, you could take a finance or a sales position, or you could take a leadership position in, say, operations. So there's definitely not one set path in what we do and how to develop further.
So that just kind of the question is, so you start at level 1 and you can grow up by gaining your skills at work, which will grow you to a level 3 engineer, then work with level 1s as they come in new to the company.
Yes.
Great. Awesome. Alyssa, what would you like to add?
What's nice about Woodward is that they provide multiple facets of how to get to even an ops engineer, which me and Cassie are. You can start off as a member or an operations technician on the floor, start out of high school right at 18 and come into Woodward. And after a year of experience there, Woodward will then provide you the opportunity to attend college and work part-time as well. So you can get your engineering degree through Woodward's paying for it as long as you're maintaining a GPA, and then work your way into an ops engineering role as well. So they provide not only directly out of college, but also working part-time as well. So they do provide those two aspects, which I think is a beautiful thing for the company to do.
Yeah, thank you for that information. That's great. And, it's great to hear. And that's what our students need to know. That kind of leads us into the next question. I guess one of our last questions before we'll do a question and Q&A is, what are the next steps? I'm 16, 17, 18 years old. I'm somewhat interested in this career, or I am interested in going down this career. Maybe it may be on the more entry level side. What do I do? Where do I go?
Sure.
Alyssa, if you want to start us off.
Absolutely. So there's a number of different ways to get to Cassie and I's positions. You could take our route of going to college, potentially taking out student loans, however means of an end to get there. But you do need a form of technical degree to be in our job. If you would like to, Woodward does have that option. I'm sure other companies do provide that option as well, of working part-time and attending school, where the company then pays for your school as you are getting that college degree. So those are kind of two different ways there.
Where could our students go to find that information? Is it Woodward's website? Where can they go to find that information on how they would need to apply for that?
You would have to be hired on into Woodward first. And then I believe it's a year of experience with Woodward before then you are able to apply into, we call it the TAP program. It's tuition assistance program. Then maintaining a certain GPA at NIU or Rock Valley College would maintain them than paying for your tuition through those schools.
So if they're 18, they can put an application in at Woodward.
Correct, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Cassie, how about you? What would be the next steps, advice that you would give for for a person to take or a student to take down this pathway?
So like Alyssa mentioned, a technical degree is what we need, as besides all the personal type skills, but that is the hard set requirement. So however they decide to get to that path, it's totally up to them. One of the things I wish I would have known right out of high school is it's not always one set way. You don't have to go straight to college and get that degree. If you want to end up there, that's great. And you can take that next step if you want, but that's not the only step. And I really wish I would have known that. It's totally okay to just gain experience or knowledge in general. I know growing up and still today, I always love the show How It's Made. And I think that's a good way to start is for someone in this, not necessarily operations engineering, but any sort of manufacturing or engineering, is figure out what you like and don't like. And I think it'd be a good start is, just gaining technical knowledge. One of the things I really benefited from through high school and college was industry tours. I know it's a little bit difficult right now with COVID, but there is a lot of resources out there. YouTube is a great starting place of just looking up different factories. If everybody has items that were all made in some sort of way. So whether you try and find, whatever car your parents drive, try Googling it, seeing if there's videos for how it was made, and just start to figure out, which types of avenues do I enjoy more than others? You'll probably tell as you watch quite a few of them. Do you like high pace, repetitive type production, or do you want more technical, very detailed type stuff? So just gaining that general technical expertise is really going to put you a little bit further in your career, even through, college, or just being more well-rounded regarding the technology aspect.
That's great. Thank you for saying that, because I feel like that's sometimes every path is different and the way to get to the end goal is different for everyone. So somebody may go directly to college, somebody may go out to work and gain that knowledge while they're at work and then continue their education while they're there. So it's great to hear that and hear that advice for our students. Thank you. Charles, we got any Q&As over there? I know you've got maybe a couple questions that we want to ask. So if I'll let you take it from here with some questions.
Yeah, well, first off, I want to say thank you to Alyssa and Cassie for being here. I mean, it's you taking time out of your day is just incredible to do this for all of our students. Thank you. But I want to bring up something that's really important is that we are not talking to male engineers here on this channel. We have two very powerful women who are engineers. And so this is not a male-dominated industry by any means. And so I guess my first question is out of all of your engineers, how many engineers do you have at Woodward that fall under that, the umbrella of engineer? And how many of them are women?
There's a lot of engineers just in our manufacturing and advanced manufacturing department. I think we talked about 40 engineers are just in advanced manufacturing, and a handful of them are women. So it's the numbers are growing, but it's taking its time a little bit.
Cassie, do you want to?
I can offer just what Alyssa did. We're in the same department.
Awesome.
Yeah. So kind of in another question that I have is here in Rockford Public Schools, we are trying really, really hard to express upon all of our students that engineering is a great field, and we kind of run into not a roadblock, but the word engineering has so many different things attached to it. When you say the word engineering, it's hard to really wrap your brain around it. And when you were talking about, starting with, being in robotics and being in manufacturing and watching how it's made, what would be your advice to not only me as an educator, but to our students? How do we begin to teach them of how to understand the word engineering and all of the doors that opens?
So I was actually talking to Alyssa about this just this week. There are so many different realms, like you mentioned, Charles, of engineering in general, and it's a growing field. So as I don't know, time evolves, I'm sure there's going to be even more. So when I was looking into what degree I wanted to pursue, I didn't even realize that environmental engineering is an avenue, and it's a huge aspect of, everyday things. Environmental emissions from cars is a huge aspect. I know in industry, we have OSHA that deals with a lot of our regulations, but they would get tied into that as well. I think what advice I would give is just start exploring, try and find start with, 5, 6 different types of engineering and dive a little deeper from there. What does it mean to be one of those engineers? Or what does it mean to have a degree in whatever realm of engineering you want to explore? And then maybe even dive a little deeper of, okay, well, I'll challenge you. Can you go out and try and connect with one of those engineers and see what it means to them? What does their job entitle? Or I'm sure you could find it on YouTube. It seems to be a repetitive thing, but whatever you want to find information on, it's really at our advantage in today's day and age that it's right at your fingertips. You can try and find out more about anything you want, and you don't have to go pick up books necessarily.
That's awesome.
Thank you. That's what we talk about. One of the conversation I was in about our students and the way they learn is, we talk about my 10-year-old is they don't have to have the books anymore or the encyclopedias. They've got it at their fingertips. They can YouTube it. They can Google it. I see it with my kid every day. We really have to explore those options and how they apply that and where they can apply their skills to be most successful in a career. Alyssa, do you want to add something to that?
Sure. I think that application is so important. That methodology of that basic scientific method of what's the problem? What are we trying to solve? And that hypothesis and working through the analysis of it. And from the results, how do you implement and apply and get the most out of your data? Because it seems as if no matter what project I'm working on or what avenue of engineering, you're always applying that scientific method of looking for that problem, the critical thinking, and how do you take care of that problem or completely eradicate it? So that is a huge application of if that can be driven into the students of applying this in everyday circumstances, then you're getting into that methodology.
Alyssa, can I ask you, I actually have one last question for Alyssa, and it's a quick one.
Okay.
You had said you dreamt of getting into aerospace. So I don't know, how in the world does one dream of getting into aerospace? How did that happen?
I always thought that airplanes were the coolest thing ever. And right from like Amelia Earhart to how it's made, of watching the Boeing assembly line in Seattle, it's such a fascinating thing, flight. And what originally drove me into aerospace was that initial initial want to be a controls engineer with that electrical engineering major, I wanted to do the controls of the cockpit. And I'm similar. I'm still in controls. It's just fuel metering controls now. But it's that is what really got me interested, because there's so many things that go into it, and the requirements and the complexity was what challenged me and inspired me to go into it.
Thank you. And thank you, Cassie, both of you guys so much.
I think it's safe to say that if any of our students have any questions, I could shoot you guys some emails for additional follow-up if we need be.
Yes.
Of course.
Awesome. Well, we're coming up on our time, so thank you so much for being here. We greatly appreciate your time so very much, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you both in person here sometime soon. Thank you all.
Sounds good.